Talking about money in the UK is often seen as a taboo subject, and many of us keep our personal finances, well, personal. Rarely do we share our financial situation with others. Research from Unbiased found that 49% of Brits are not comfortable talking to family members about their money worries. But when it comes to the bigger personal finance questions about retirement and whether you'll have enough, this lack of conversation about money can make the topic unclear. So in today's video, I'm going to look at what the average UK pension pot size is across different ages and what the average UK pension income is, and see whether this income is sustainable. Hi, welcome to the channel. My name's Matt and I'm a UK-based independent financial advisor and planner. Here you will learn how to make smart decisions with your money so you can get the most out of your earnings. To start the video, I must caveat that although I'm providing guidance on looking at averages, when I speak to people about their financial situation, no one person is average. Everyone has different circumstances when it comes to their retirement plans, expenditure, income and overall situation. So please bear this in mind when comparing with your own situation. To start, let's look at the average pension pot size in the UK. The latest data from the ONS on this is from January 2022, where they looked at pension amounts up until March 2020. So although this is a few years out of date, it is the latest set available, so we'll be using it for today. The data is broken down into various categories on different types of pensions, but we're going to look at private pension wealth, whether that's active, preserved or in payment, and the data does exclude those with zero private pension wealth. If you are interested in looking at the other data sets, then I'll leave a link down below to the source. Here is a breakdown by age range of the median pension amount, so the middle value for men, women and overall. As expected, as we get older, the average pension amount increases. For men, this peaks in the 65 to 74 age range with a median value of £260,500 and then reduces back down, assuming income is now being drawn from the pension. For women, this is the highest in the 55 to 64 bracket with a median of £152,600 and again reduces in the age brackets beyond that. In the overall, the brackets at age 55 to 64 and 65 to 74 are very similar, averaging around the £190,000 mark. The average age of retirement in the UK is 65. So why don't we take our average pension amounts from the 65 to 74 bracket and the retirement age of 65 and do two cash flow plans to see what sort of income this could provide for a couple and someone single. For our first cash flow plan, I'm going to look at our couple. So here I'm going to take the median pension amounts for a male and female in that 65 to 74 age bracket. So for our male, it's £260,500 and for our female, it is £137,400. For the cash flow plan, we're going to need some assumptions, and to help us with this, we have Joe and Jane average. Joe is male and 65, Jane is female and also 65. Their pensions are invested in the same asset allocation, which is 60% in global equities and 40% in global bonds, and the pension charges are 0.50% per annum, so 0.5% per year. Both Joe and Jane are entitled to a full state pension from age 66. For our cash flow plan, we're also going to need an idea of how long Joe and Jane will live for. Joe's average life expectancy is to age 85, whereas Jane's is to age 87. So, as they are Mr. and Mrs. Average, let's assume that they die at their average life expectancy, so they'll need income from their pensions for the next 22 years. We now need to decide what sort of income they require. According to the Family Resources Survey, average weekly income of pensioner couples is £561 a week, which is £29,172 a year. It is worth mentioning this data is from 2023, so will have likely increased, but we'll use this as a starting point. So let's put all these numbers into the cash flow tool and assess the outcome. Based on Joe and Jane's situation, the forecast shows that in 100% of historical scenarios, they would not have run out of money. And in a median scenario, they actually slightly increase the size of their pension pots as time goes on. lifestyle. This is not surprising as their state pensions, shown here in green, make up the majority of their income. Therefore, they don't need to dip into their private pensions at a significant rate. So, as you might expect, the average income in retirement is covered by the average pension amounts. But is this average retirement income sufficient? While it varies for each person, according to retirement living standards, a moderate standard of living in retirement for a couple would require £43,100 per year. So let's see how this amount affects our plan. The increase in income means Joe and Jane are more reliant on their private pensions to make up their income. And because of this, in 21% of backdated scenarios, the private pension pot does not last to age 87, and therefore adjustments are needed to preserve their pension pot. This indicates that couples with an average amount in pensions who retire at an average age and have average life expectancies are potentially at risk of not being able to sustain a moderate lifestyle in retirement. For us to ensure Joe and Jane have at least 90% success rate, they would need to reduce their annual net income to £39,900. So that's our couple, but let's see how this compares with someone who's single. For our single retiree, we have Sam. Sam is male, 65, and similar to Joe and Jane, his pension is invested in 60% global equities and 40% global bonds, and his pension charges are the same at 0.5% per annum. Again, Sam is entitled to the full state pension. The median amount someone has in the 65 to 74 age bracket is £190,000, so this will be the amount in his pension pot. The Family Resources Survey data shows the average weekly income of a pensioner who is single is £267 a week, so £13,884 a year. When we put these figures into our plan that runs to age 85, we can see this annual income is sustainable, as again, the state pension makes up a large proportion of this income. However, £13,884 is a lot lower than I expected and really shows the challenges of having a comfortable retirement if you're single in this country. Instead of looking at the average, let's look at the plan for Sam to have the retirement living standards moderate amount for someone who's single, which is £31,300. When I was doing this forecast, I was really surprised by these results, as Sam's plan is sustainable in only 2% of scenarios. This just shows the clear mismatch between someone who's single with an average amount in a pension and the sort of lifestyle they can maintain in retirement. For us to ensure Sam has at least 90% success rate, we would need to reduce the annual net income to £20,000 a year. So there we have the average amount the UK has in pensions and what income levels can be sustainably withdrawn from these amounts. But as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, no one person is average. And as a financial planner, I work with clients on a variety of retirement plans. Many people simply don't want to have the average income, so will happily pay more into their pension now so that they can enjoy their retirement earlier or with a greater income. Where you live, your housing costs, how many holidays you want to go on, and your general lifestyle all vary how much income you need. But to understand how other factors affect your retirement pot, such as asset allocation, phasing out of work, and being flexible with your income, then check out this video here where I go through another case study, and I'll see you over there.